All right, here we go. We're live. All right, so this is what we're talking about today. We're discussing tonight how does God, or excuse me, how is God judging the black community through the modern day women? And a lot of y'all might be like, what the hell am I talking about? Judging his own people? No, 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 no. He's judging them. He's judging everybody else. Everybody else keep committing crimes against us. But what does the Bible say about it? Listen, a lot of y'all people will be shocked to know. If you were to open up to Isaiah chapter 3 and chapter 4, I'm just going to read two verses to you, one from chapter 3 and one for chapter 4, so you can understand where I'm going with this throughout the whole night. This is called the Bible. Yes, this is King James Version of the Bible. If I go to Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12, this is about the Lord bringing judgment on down on Israel. We know about the disobedience. We know about the time and time he had to discipline Israel, bring them to so low that they had no choice but to turn away from their wickedness and run back to him time and time again. This is one of those times. And this time also reflects what is being done in our own time. What do I mean by that? Well, let's find out. Now, if I go to 3:12 in Isaiah about the judgment on Israel, it says, well, let's start at 11. Woe to the wicked, disaster is upon them. They will be paid back for what their hands have done. So it starts off saying that disaster is upon my people. I'm going to bring them to nothing. I'm going to almost utterly, completely destroy my own people because of everything they've done in their own wickedness and disobedience. So then it says, the youth will oppress my people. The young will be oppressors of the old, and the women will rule over them. O my people, your guides lead you astray. Now, here is one of the judgments upon Israel that your women will become your leaders, meaning the positions that were always made for men, it will begin to be filled with women. This was a judgment because the Lord knew putting women into certain positions would bring the entire community of Israel to a complete halt, to complete nothing. And that's what happened. But yet, if you go over to the start of 4, chapter 4, it says, in that day, 7 women will take hold of one man and say, we will eat our own food and we will provide our own clothes. So in 4, it says that even the women will turn away from the men. They will lay with the men and have children with the men. So it's saying that there's going to come upon Israel a day where even now the woman will say, we will clothe ourselves. We will feed ourselves our own food. We will no longer have needs for you as a man to be a provider, for we will be independent of you. This is a judgment that was given to Israel to bring them to disaster. So if you don't comprehend what I'm talking about, then you got to go ask God. Like they say, ask God. So where are we gonna go with this for tonight's episode? Well, we got a lot of ways that we could go about this tonight. There's so much online right now, and as I'm browsing too, I haven't even been online for like the last few days, man. I've got so much to deal with. But there's this fight challenge that you could go on TikTok and view, and it's where the parents are trying to manipulate, I don't even say trick, manipulate the kids into thinking that they're about to go fight another individual adult, and that adult has a child their same age, and they need their child to go up and fight that child. Childish behavior. The one thing you don't see in a lot of these videos are men, black men at that. Every time you see these challenge videos, the majority of people, who do you see? You see women or you see a lot of weak men. I was driving just now, not long ago, before I even got back home, making a U-turn. Girl calls out, ah, go, go. I'm like, what the? God damn. The women sound like men. They sound like the worst version of a man. But that's where we're at today. We're going to get a few of you guys' opinions, but I just want to lay it out. I just want to lay it out. This is what I was listening to right here. If y'all can hear it. Courtesy of Facebook Lessons. So you can hear it in the background. This little.
Are we going to beat her up?
No, she sounds African.
How are you going to beat her up? Yes. Are you going to beat her up? Yeah.
So
these kids really about some action.
All the kids are ready to fight. The parents are teaching the kids to desire to fight. What does that do to children? And the majority of the children are all females. So all female in nature. So the parents are gearing the children, their daughters, to always be ready to fight, to always be ready to jump into confrontations, always be ready to escalate a situation. And you wonder why men can't stay with the women of today, the modern women of today. There's an ever changing of how relationships work these days. All the nonsense that people used to deal with, that men used to deal with, those days are coming to an end. I said it before. But you see, it's not just that 88% of Black American children are born out of wedlock. It's not that 66% who do get married and then divorce. It's not just that even for those who do get married, it's only 1 out of 4. So 1 out of 4 will get married. And out of those 1 out of 4, more than half will get divorced in less than 7 years. So something is wrong. The Bible tells it all. We don't want to listen. We want to believe that this is the way that it's supposed to be, that things mature into other things, meaning that, oh yes, that was the traditional way that things were done, but we're in a new time. We're in 2020. We're in a new millennium. We're in a new everything. We do things differently. And guess what? When you do things differently, you get different outcomes. And the outcome is a sad one, because the outcome is that no one can hold together a relationship anymore. This is the outcome of the modern day society of women. And the same modern day single mother women are the ones raising these beta males. So now you get the single mothers raising weak men, aggressive daughters, weak sons, aggressive daughters, and they're the ones who are trying to mesh. They're the ones who are trying to have relationships with each other these days. That's disaster. That has disaster written all over it. Beta weak men, aggressive females. There is no outcome that will be positive with this mixture. It's just like anything else. When you mix oil and water together, I do it when I'm boiling water for my pasta. But you know, when I put the oil in the boiling water, I dab a little oil and it bubbles up, breaks up. You can see it move, permeating through the water. You could tell that it doesn't go together. But what it does, it keeps the noodles, the spaghetti noodles, separate. It keeps them from sticking together. And it's the same way with our society today, that we got the oil and the water, it doesn't mix. Then we throw in the spaghetti, it doesn't stick together. So nobody sticks together anymore, because the oil and the water is there to keep the spaghetti from sticking. So it's the same way with families. The oil and the water mentality keeps families from being able to stick together. This is the outcome. And it's not going to get better through this conversation or any other conversation. It's not going to get better. That's what I want people to understand. That you have to begin to prepare yourself for it to get only worse. What do you see today? Everything is the alphabet community. You can't turn on a single device and watch a single show without that being promoted to not only you but to your children. Because it's like the world is saying that we screwed up everything so bad that we understand that we're it's not going to be a situation or a society that is going to be a man, woman, a child, and family anymore. Because feminism destroyed that. Feminism absolutely destroyed that. So I'm saying that if we already made it so that there's not going to be a traditional family function anymore in the world, next best thing is same SC, the terminology. Got to watch it for YouTube. Instagram don't really care, but you know how YouTube is. So everywhere you go, especially here in America, now that's the new thing. It's been that way for the last decade. The majority of people are becoming what the book of Romans taught us about. That in these days, just like the days of the Romans, in the Roman rule, it will be like the days in the latter times. That God said he will give them up to their own desires. That male should be with male, and female will be with female, and give them up to a reprobate mind. And people don't understand. When God give you up to something, that's it. That's why the scriptures always say that call on the Lord while he's still near. Because when God completely removes himself from you, you could go do any and everything. You could do everything according to your heart's desire. And he won't stop you. And you will succeed at it. And while you're succeeding at it, you're not only destroying yourself, but you're destroying everything around you. So that is why this is titled today. This is how God is judging the black community. Now, this Western, we used to call this Westernization, the Western mentality. It's not even the case anymore. Because of the internet, everything gets around so quickly. And believe it or not, everything that's done in this world, almost everything, is influenced by Black Americans. For right or wrong, by us, Black Americans. We're the most influential people in the world. That's why a lot of things are promoted to us and ran through us. And they put their money into people who could promote this stuff for them, these lifestyles, these thoughts, these mentalities, and make it a popular thing. And then other people begin to run with it. But the problem is, a lot of it is wickedness. Book of Lamentations 3:10 is one of my favorites. It says, let us, what is it? Let us leave our wicked ways and return to the Lord. You see, there's an outcome that can be as graceful, as merciful, and as positive as any outcome. When we come out of this, we completely come out of this. And we're better for it. We're better than we ever been. But do you really think that we're in a stage of life in this world that people are going to leave their wicked ways to return to the one who created them? No, they're not. And it's showing. Because people have made it so that being on Instagram and showing off your body is more important than what is coming down the pipeline for your future. See, that's why they say we live in a microwave society. Because everybody want everything here and now. Nobody wants to work for anything. Everybody want to get rich quick. And the problem with that, you get rich quick, you become broke quicker. You get rich quick and you become broke quicker. You see, ill-gotten gains never last. They never do. It's been the way of the world since the beginning. We got a Sumter. I think I know a Sumter. I think she's back in there. I know it's late over there. Let's get a Sumter in here. See what she got to say. And I'm wanting you guys to look up the scripture stuff. Like I said, Isaiah chapter 3 and Isaiah chapter 4. A Sumter.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine.
Talked to you like months ago, didn't I? I remember you from a couple months ago, right?
Yeah. You just called my name just now.
Yeah, Sumter, because I remember that name. I think I met two of Sumters, if I'm not mistaken. But I guess you're the smiley face one.
Yeah, my name is Jerry.
Yeah, you can't help but to smile, can you? Have you been listening to the show?
No, I just came to church.
Are you just now coming on and being nosy and trying to figure out what's going on?
Yep.
All right. Is the title of the show? Can you see the title?
No, I can't see the title.
All right. The title is this. This is how God is judging the black community through modern day women.
God is judging the modern community through the modern day women. I don't understand.
Of course you don't understand. That's why I'm here to explain it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, in our society, we live in a society where the women have been pulled in by feminism, right? We probably talked something about this before. And
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with black women because I know this permeated through a lot of other races of people, but I'm going to stick with the black community. I'm going to stick with what I absolutely know for now. And maybe later on I'll start getting into everybody else. But in the black community, we have this figurehead that's called independent women. Here we go with the network. Don't get me started with the network problems now. All right, so your network, you're freezing. All right, while she's trying to get her network together, let me get back to what I'm saying. Oh, you there?
Okay, yeah, I'm here.
All right. So we had this figurehead that's called the strong, independent black woman. Now, you get a lot of women being career-minded, being strong, independent, as they say, quote unquote, and they say, "I don't need no man." We've heard that before, Miss Independent. I don't need a man, right?
Yeah, independent lady.
Well, for one thing, we know that ain't true because women will always need men, regardless if they want to admit it or not. But we're gonna let y'all believe that y'all don't need a man. All right, we're gonna go with it. Y'all don't need a man. Guess where that comes from? I said, guess where it comes from?
I don't know.
It comes from the Bible.
Okay, we don't need a man. We actually need a man.
But what I'm saying is, this is the mentality of a lot of sisters these days, that they want to be strong, independent, and don't be in need of a man, right?
Yes.
Now, at the start of the show, I read Isaiah, the 3rd chapter, verse 12, and Isaiah, the 4th chapter, verse 1. Do you know what those two verses say?
No.
Chapter 3, verse 12 says that as the Lord is going to judge Israel and bring them to disaster, he said he was tired of wickedness. He was tired of them not listening, being disobedient. So he said that I'm going to now bring the nation of Israel to complete disaster. He said the way that I'm going to do that, I'm going to let the young ones oppress you, and I'm going to let the women become rulers. Meaning, I'm going to let the women become leaders. So what does that mean?
It means that a man was leading before.
What does that mean? It means that God knew so that when women become leaders amongst the community, they will fall. They will collapse. This is his words. Now,
I'm actually trying to get what you read, but now I understand.
in chapter 4, verse 1, it goes on to say that not only that, but the woman will look to the men and say, we no longer need you. We will provide our own food and clothe ourselves, that we will be independent of you. The woman will become leaders. They will be put in the positions of men, and they will become independent from men. That's God talking. God is telling Israel what he's going to have happen to them in order that they can be utterly destroyed. So the very things that we're doing today that is destroying us, you can only look back and say, damn, that is judgment. That is God's wrath. Because what's happening today with the independent mentality of I don't need a man, has I built more families or destroyed more families?
It's actually destroying the family.
And when you don't have families, what happens? A community becomes utterly destroyed.
Yeah.
So, knowing that, now we have to come to a point that we got to look at it a whole different way. We have to now look at it as this is just not all about 2022 and a new millennium. This is a new way, and that's the old way. I want the new times. It's not just that. This is the work of the Lord. He's doing this. He's done it before, and he's doing it again. So what I'm saying is that when y'all ladies think about being this, it's not that y'all fighting against men. Y'all fighting against God. And that's why he will never allow anything to work out for such like ones. That's why nothing is working out now. That's why people can't keep a marriage together. Because people don't want to play their position. And then what you see happening, you see a lot of the ladies, they claim that they talk the talk, they're living this extravagant lifestyle, they're happy. But if you're happy, why are you always yapping and talking about it? You see, when a person is content, they move along in life without the anger, without the manipulation, without having to always talk and discuss it. But these women who say they don't need a man, they're always the loudest ones. What do that tell you? That they don't even believe their own selves. They don't even believe what they say. They talk a good game and get y'all to listen, because even in the Bible, when you go back to the book of Romans, it says that he gave these people over to a reprobate mind. The same thing that we discussed, he move over to the book of Romans. He said that he will give their desires for the women to lay with women and for the men to lay with men. He said, not only am I doing all these things to them and allowing these things to happen that they will have a reprobate mind, but he's saying that not only are they so uncivilized, but they will condone it and go force others and promote it to others in order that they may follow in their same path. So that's what you're seeing now, that a lot of these people are on these platforms saying, I'm good with the way I am. Come join me.
Yeah.
This is the work of the you know who all the way. And my thing, I'm here to at least be informative so that our younger sisters and our younger brothers are not falling into this ideologies. How old are you, Sumter?
I'm 21.
Oh, you're only 21. You look like you're down there 29. No, I'm just messing with you. No, you look. No. I'm just messing with you.
Anything but to look older, please.
No, I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. But still though. So, what's your opinion on it now with the not you per se, but the woman? Because I know you see these type of women or young females around the school, class, or work, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you now, knowing that what you just heard, knowing that we just went through a few verses, a few scriptures to see that this is actually the wrath of God that's falling on our own community, would it make you want to look at it a little differently now?
Yes, I've actually looked at it different from the time I knew it was actually wrong. But now I'm having a strong fact that motivates that is actually not supported at all. It wasn't supported from the beginning. And shouldn't be supported now because the young generation now they're actually making to me they're actually making their own Bible now. They don't care about the doctrines of former times. They just come up with their own beliefs and they just say that okay, people should just move towards feminism. I think it shouldn't be an option at all because they just they seem to like put in more women. To be like, okay, yes, to be an independent woman is okay to the man is actually the head of the family. And for a woman to be dragging that right, first of all, the marriage of assets are shaking. That should be the foundation of sale of marriages and foundation of so many sale of so many things. Like a woman should not be dragging her right from the husband. That was like
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. But this is the problem. People are beginning to see the outcomes of this ideology, but they're still moving in that way.
yeah, they're still hoping that but I don't know. I feel that there are still a lot of examples to see move them because like the young ones are actually working with testimony.
Meaning,
Like you don't just come and just say that okay, for you to be a woman, that they will actually work with the stories they hear. And these people when they come out, they are coming out fully prepared. Like when they are telling you the stories about the woman heading a woman leading a city, a woman doing like when they are talking about women being leaders, they actually bring up examples. And those examples are actually very like eye catching. Like I've gotten a story when the woman was talking about the way her husband was maltreating her and she started to leave the house on her own and now she's a successful woman, she has her own business, she has no man to be commanding her, to be telling her to move on to the things. Young girls of nowadays they want that kind of easy life. That's why they are easily influenced by the story.
and as I said, these stories are meant to mislead.
Yeah.
And how is that an easy life? This is, first of all, I will always say this is because I believe in what God says. I can look
No,
at,
like yeah, they are actually they are already feeling like it's an easy life already.
but it's
When
not
they
an easy
come
life.
out yes, it's actually not an easy life, but they don't seem to understand.
So believe the story as you said it. Say I'm a young person and I'm going to believe this story that you just said. Say like I'm hearing it for the first time and somebody's telling it to me. I'm going to think one or two things. First of all, she had to go through, in order to build a successful business, it takes a lot. It's a lot of stress on a person. I know it because I'm living proof of doing it. It takes a lot of, oh man, the stress is unbearable. The more successful a business is, the more stress. Now, so you're telling me that life is easier for you to go and spend 10, 20, 30 years building a business, deal with all the stress that comes with that, and then be able to turn around at the age of 40, 50 years old and say that you got an easy life because you don't have to listen to no man. That sounds absolutely crazy,
And absurd too.
absurd. Because instead of being a stay-at-home mother, raising your children, respecting your man as you're supposed to by the creator who made you, and living life with a lot less stress and knowing that you're provided for, you're taken care of, you're being led, and you're being protected. You don't have to concern yourself with those things. So you're telling me to have that lifestyle is easier than the other one. That makes absolutely no sense. And these young girls are being
Yes, our girls are actually being misled because that's what
influenced.
standard.
And the problem is there's nobody to tell them any different.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say this. Look, I actually was gonna do a show on Wednesday. I ran into something that happened to me on the street. I went through a whole bunch of mess on Wednesday, man. Wednesday was one of the worst days I had in a long time. Even the wife crashed a car last week when I'm teaching her how to drive for the first time in the park. Smashed the car. That was a that was a good day compared to Wednesday. But no, she
Oh my
good.
god.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It was just a bumper and a fender. She actually went and got a driver's permit after that still. So I'm proud of her. But one here. But Wednesday was so bad, and I took it as a sign because I was going to do a show, but I thought that would alienate too many people. I'm not going to go into everything that I was going to discuss, but I had to think twice and say, you know what, maybe it's not time to go there yet. But I'm gonna take a small cue from what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about African men. It wasn't just about them, but they were going to be part of it. And what I was going to say is that, unfortunately, the younger generation of African men are nothing like the previous generation. Now, the previous generations, they had some things that needed to be fixed, some teachings and you know understandings that were misguided themselves, but they were strict, they were strong, they were providers, and they was tough, and they led their homes. They knew how to lead their homes as men. When I see the young brothers in Africa today, I'm strictly talking about West Africa right now because I know all the majority of countries in West Africa and been there. A lot of your younger brothers are not strong men like their fathers and their forefathers. I'm just being honest. I gotta tell it. I've seen a video that a woman get beat just by pointing out that the man is not a provider the way he should be, and instead of going out and working hard and making right of the situation, say, you know what, I gotta get better. I gotta be better. This man just beat on his wife. And I'm like, that is a weak man. It takes one thing. I'm this way. I'm a lot of things, but one thing I don't believe in is putting my hands on a woman.
Like, like I actually heard something about that today. Like, this is such a very big princess. I was like today I went to the market to go and get some stuff. The store I entered, I think the woman was crying. She was crying
Mm.
during her stuff. Me, I said just like listen, like it's just for the conversation. And then I heard that when she was complaining that the marriage is not up to a year when she got married.
It was a
And
lady
the next
complaining.
time, yes,
All right, go ahead.
had an argument. And the next thing the guy could do was break glass. And he was just approaching. I wanted to use glass on her, like wanted to use the bottle on her. Like seriously.
Break glass. What you mean break glass?
Like bottle, like he broke the bottle, he wanted to use on her.
And want to use it on her?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
And he actually did not do it in the house. He actually did it outside, like he did it in the midst of people. So people were wondering, like, if you can do this outside, what will you do to this woman inside the house? Like, she must be going through hell. And
Mm.
he's not a provider. He wasn't really providing for the family. He would come home, if there's no food in the house, he would make the woman because he understood that it was hard. I was supposed to actually go and find food, and he would still be down on top of it. Like, all those kind of things. By the time that kind of woman should come out and actually start preaching feminism, you will see the young girls want to follow her because she has a story, she has testimony about the way the guy treated her. And everybody be like, that's true, that's true. You can actually do that to man, you can actually do that man. All these kind of stories and testimonies actually, they're actually contributing.
I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. And logically, you can see why. Because if that's the only way that they see, a younger person is going to look at that like, wow, this how men are. I don't want to be up underneath that. And that is the problem. And that is the problem. That was what you said is absolutely correct. I'm going to give you that. What you said is totally correct. And this is to reiterate. You're saying that because the men are what they are, that that is also allowing feminism to influence the younger ones even more so because the men are not providing, they're not protecting, not leaders. We're talking about the younger ones.
Yeah, that's why the younger generation of girls, when they grow up, when they see this thing, they'll be like, okay, I can actually make that a man. Because when she was talking, I think two young girls entered the store and they were like, I don't know why I'm not going to marry you. That's why we don't marry. Like, they were just saying, like, me, I can actually live that a man. Just imagine a man beating me like this. I will not take it. Like, just imagine this is actually bringing crowd into this feminism. Like, these girls now, two of them, they don't even know about it, but they just feel like they're already having their mind shaking. I can do with that thing, and I can do with that thing. And this thing actually contributes to the fall of our community. Like, so many things are not progressing because so many ladies feel that they can do it on their own. You know you need the help of a man, but you don't want to because you don't believe that you need help.
Like you
Because of
said,
what
but
they
you know
said,
they do.
because of the fact you have gathered, or you know you do. And what we are saying that you do, because people like us, like, we try to advise them, like, guys, you need this help from this guy. Don't accept, like, you're a woman, you are a woman. They don't understand the meaning of that word woman.
This is the
They
problem that I
have what
have. This is the problem that I have. That I agree wholly. I agree totally with what you're saying. But the problem is that the parents, they missed out on one thing. They didn't teach their daughters how to look for a proper husband. They didn't teach them the proper things to look for a husband. Because now you got the younger ones. You got the younger ones from the age of 18, 16, 17, 18, running around with 16, 17, 18-year-old boys. And you can't find a husband that way. You understand me? At the age of 21, you're not going to find a husband in another 21-year-old person. You're just not. One thing I was taught since I was a kid, even before I came of age. My grandma used to tell me this one thing. She's always told me, never marry anyone who's don't marry anyone who's not at least 10 years younger than you. I didn't understand it then, but as I got older, I began to understand what she meant. First of all, men and women we mature differently. Men do not mature. By the time a man is ready to marry, he's at the age of 35. That's the earliest that a man is ready to marry. But she also understood that for a 35-year-old man to marry a 35-year-old woman just wouldn't work because that woman already spent 15 years leading herself. So she leaves no place to be led. So if that 35-year-old man takes a 20-year-old, now he's fit to lead and provide and protect because he has 15 years of experience of life over her. You see what I'm saying? So that's why she always told me that make sure your wife is at least 10 years younger than you. But these are the jewels that we got from the older generations that we didn't take with us. That was one thing that I did. I took that. I would never marry someone with children, no matter how much I loved them. I would maybe provide for them. No, I would provide, maybe take care of them, and be there, concubine, whatever. You can have all of that men could choose from. But I knew that as a young age that I would never marry anybody with children. I would never marry someone in their 40s or their 30s. If they weren't in their 20s, it wasn't going to be fit for me. So I'm just saying, if I look at it as a man that way, a lot of other men look at it. But let me point out one more thing. Over there in West Africa, there's a lot of things changing, just like it's changing all around the world. With inflation, everything's out of control. People are doing bad financially all over the world right now. It's here too, man. It's terrible here. But one thing that I've noticed that I've seen, this is becoming a constant now here in America, and I want you to see if you can relate to it and tell me what's going on over there. Right now, you get a lot of the young men look for older women who are already established, who have money, and become their boy tours or become in relationships with them. Because now the men here, I'm not saying everybody, but a large majority of the men, we call them pookies and ray rays. So when you hear that term pookies and ray rays, these are the type of men they're talking about. And a lot of these men, that's what they're called, pookies and ray rays. Like the same ones you call Yahoo boys or whatever. But yeah. So we call them pookies and ray rays. They out on the street scheming, but they don't never ever want to go out and get a job in order to provide rightfully for a family. So now what the guys are doing, they're dating girls no matter what they look like as long as they have money. So now it's totally flipped. So now the guys are looking for women. They will only date women who have money. It used to be the opposite. That the women would date the men with money, but now the men are only dating the women with money.
Yeah.
You see how backwards everything has begun?
Very backwards.
So is that happening there too?
Yeah.
Mm.
Like they call them sugar mommies.
Call them what?
Sugar mommies.
Oh, the sugar mommies. Okay.
Yeah.
So how old do a sugar mommy got to be?
She has to be older than guys.
Like
She has to have
30s?
if the guy is around like if the guy is 20s, she should be around 50 years.
Oh, damn, that's way overboard. I'm up here talking about no. I'm talking the guys here. They're dating girls their age. Like they're 25. They're looking for the girls who are like they're nurses or work as paralegals or whatever. They're looking to date them. So the girls could provide for them and give them a place to stay.
Anyway, like it happens here too, but like when the girl is actually when the woman is actually older than the guy, like let me say for like 10 years, like around 10 years.
Yeah,
And she has to
right.
sugar mommy.
So it's backwards. It's backwards.
Yes, very backwards.
So do you? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Like I know what's going on, but everything's so crazy to me right now.
Yeah, this generation they're actually turning things around. I don't know whether it's because of technology or so many things are improving because I believe that when our parents were growing up, they didn't have this much technology with them. So I think things were actually on the low, unlike now.
Yeah, but back then the women in the women in those times didn't have a lot of freedom that they have today.
The women were actually submissive at that
Yeah,
point.
exactly. Now technology and the way that the rules have changed, and like we talked at the beginning, that the judgment is upon us. Now things have been flipped. So it's going to be this way, and it's only going to get worse, is what I say. But this is the reason why it is. But the thing we have to do, we have to find a safe place for our own selves. Like we have to find like true believers who are like-minded in order to live life according to the right way that it's supposed to live as a traditional family. There's not going to be many left, but those who are true believers, we're going to have to live that way regardless of what. We're not going to be able to take the mentality or the ideology of the world view. You can't serve two masters. You have to do it his way, or you can do it the world's way, which is your way. Right?
Yes.
And like I said, a big issue is that the parents are not teaching y'all. You can forget about the parents in America. Yeah, forget about the parents in America. They don't teach anything that they're supposed to be teaching their children for the most part. They're teaching them how to fight, how to cuss, how to rap, how to play ball. They don't really do anything to make their children formidable for when they turn adults to be able to compete in the real world. But go ahead, what you were saying? I was saying something about. I said that.
Okay, yes, I think the parents are actually supposed to play a big role, and in like Africa here, where the parents are actually good at impacting, like they're actually playing two different. Most of the boys here, they're actually doing Yahoo, like what do you call it?
Say that again. No, you funny as hell.
Okay, so like the guys, their parents are actually supposed to mold them because what you're saying, it starts from foundation. When your parents are teaching you all these things, you're aware that when you are growing to a certain age, you're not supposed to do this kind of thing. But I think that we're lacking behind because the parents are not giving them enough knowledge about what they should do.
What the hell?
So the parents are actually playing a big role.
And this just happened in the last generation. It wasn't the generation beforehand. This previous generation of parents from generation what they call them baby boomers here in America, we call them the baby boomer generation. That generation fell completely. And at the same time, you know what? It's funny because all this stuff happened in the 60s, around the time of independence, around the civil rights, when blacks got civil rights. They did all the fighting, got the civil rights era, and that same time in 1967 and all that, that West Africa got their independence. Around the same particular time is when all these other things started moving in and destroying the communities. It's it's complicated, but it's breathtaking if you really take time to analyze it. And I have, but I need to do a lot more before I start discussing it. I'll get to that at some point. But yeah, we see it the same way. But the best thing you could do is tell your counterparts, look, the way you're moving just ain't it. How you gonna find your husband? Tell me.
Hmm?
How you plan to find your husband?
Okay. I don't know.
You don't know
I'll find him anyway.
anywhere. Tell
It's school.
tell everybody watching now that you want a nice, decent, qualified husband.
I want nice, decent, qualified husband. Accountant.
Handsome.
Yeah.
Oh, why gotta be handsome?
Fine.
No, I'm just messing with you. But what people call handsome, everybody got their own ideas what handsome is. So that'll be for you and between them. And tell them you're gorgeous 21-year-old who's raised to be a traditional wife.
Yes, I'm a gorgeous 21-year-old girl who is raised to be a traditional wife.
And can't stop smiling.
Can't stop smiling.
All right, that's good. Good talk. Good talk. Good talk. Thank you again, Assumpta.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll talk again in the future. God's grace.
Okay.
All
Bye.
right, bye. So as you see, it was good that she pointed out to me because it was something that I didn't even think about. And just goes to show we can all learn something new every day. When she started to talk about when the younger ones, I don't know why I should move that way, but the younger ones who are seeing how the younger men, are behaving and treating and beating on a woman. Oh man, I really find I have an issue with that. But that is pushing a lot of the girls to think like, you know what, I don't want to be under a man. And like I said, I never even thought about it, but that definitely can push someone of a young age to think like, you know what, the hell with this. I could do all bad by myself. And that's where that terminology comes from. I could do all bad by myself. And it's a bad situation because either way, it's going to turn out bad. Because now the younger ones looking at it like she said that they think they don't need a man, but in actuality you do. Especially coming out that part of the world, it's going to be very difficult for you to maintain life without a man. Because when you're at the age of your teens or your early 20s, you still got mom and dad to provide and help you out, clothe and shelter you. But most parents are not sheltering a 30, 40, 50, 60 year old, woman. And parents ain't going to be around forever. So at the end of the day, it's going to be very difficult to make it through without a man. But the problem is they're not being given the right examples of one. That's why I wanted to point out to her that a lot of the things that I see, because I'm all over. So when I'm there, when I'm in Ghana, when I'm in Nigeria, when I'm in Togo, I'm talking, mixing with the younger brothers, I notice a difference. The ones who are in their late 30s, early 40s, around, my counterparts, they're completely different than the ones who are coming up at the age of their early 20s. For the men that I know, they're hard workers, good providers, good leaders. And I look at the younger ones and start talking to them. I'm like, these boys are lost. And it's okay. I'm not gonna say it's okay, but it's normal to be lost as a 20-year-old. I've been there. The problem is that there's no guidance anymore because you get the younger ones who came up in a way that, and social media plays large part in this, whereas they don't feel like they need to hear anything from anybody. Because now, like we said, the parents from this last generation are failures. So in previous times, they had the father to put them back on track. They had the mother to put them back on track. But that's not even there anymore. These young boys are turning the ages of 16, 17, 18 and being out on their own. They're coming from a lot of homes that, you know, extreme poverty. They can't get anything from mom. A lot of times dad left or dad passed away. So what next? And the problem I have is this, that it's not, how should I say this? One thing that I believe needs to be done in West Africa, we need to start looking towards mentorships for young men more so than anything. And the same thing here in America. But the problem is that, like, I made a comment yesterday on I forget who video that was. Maybe Phil Scott or O'Shea Duke Jackson, one of them. And it was a young girl. I think she was 14 years old. She was accepted into medical school. Great, excellent. That's the stuff that we should be promoting. That's the stuff we should be talking about. They should be all over the platforms, social media, and of the black community. But unfortunately, they're not. Just the opposite. But anyway, this young 14-year-old girl made it into medical school. A great feat. I only hope moms would do the same. That I could raise my daughter to be that. Now, one of the comments said, "Congratulations, such and such, Black Girl Magic." That's why I had a problem. Because everything that we look at now is Black Girl Magic, this Black Girl Magic, that. Instead of saying this is a good one, this is a win for the black community, it has to separate themselves. And you see it all over. Every time we see programs, it's black girls or black women, minority women, it's all this nonsense. It's like a complete separation of the two. It's like the two are becoming two different races. It's like black men and black women are becoming separate races of people. Because surely enough, black men are not marrying black women at the rate that they used to. And that's just for the ones who do get married. So as long as y'all want to do this black girl magic, black this, black woman that, once y'all want to do that, that's fine. But all y'all doing is separating yourselves and causing more division amongst your own people. Jenny, go ahead. You can come on. Let me see. I'll see you in the comments. Big head. Why you not sleep?
I can just work.
All right. So you got something to say evidently, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, go speak your piece.
Okay. So aside domestic violence being an issue, I think should I say um, switching position, like how would I put it? The female taking over the woman's position in providing for the family financially. It's a problem. I know of a couple, they're married, they have two children, I think like four, and the breadwinner of the family is the wife. She wakes up every morning by 3 a.m. and goes about her business by 3 a.m. by herself and comes back at 10 p.m. 11 p.m. every day.
Okay.
And the man doesn't really go to work. He goes to work whenever he please and he doesn't really do anything serious. So, okay, her children growing up seeing their mom, I don't know, she should be suffering because she the work stress is too much. What she do. So
First off, that's a little different than the conversation itself, but I'll take it. You say you get a woman who's doing all the work, who's providing, and the man is not doing as much. He's not. Basically, you're saying that there's a situation where the man is not pulling his weight,
Yeah.
and the kids are looking up to this, and that is what they're being influenced by, thinking that the woman is supposed to work and the man's supposed to sit around. Well, two things. If this is in West Africa, then I'm surprised that the parents of the woman haven't made a lot of complaints about it in the first place. And I'm surprised that the parents of the man would even allow their son to be representing themselves that way in the first place. But it is what it is. But you got to ask yourself, they're married, right?
Yeah.
She allowed herself to be chosen by him.
I think if I should say she was brainwashed or something because I even feel angry saying her
Brainwashed. So
doing that.
did they kidnap her? They kidnapped her, took her to a warehouse, strapped her to a chair, and put a television set in front of her face, and um, had a lot of propaganda going across the screen, and she was forced to watch it for 24 hours, for 365 days, to a whole year. And she came out of that warehouse when she was released, and she was brainwashed now.
I don't know why. I don't know. It's like I don't know if I should call it love to control because I just feel it's not balanceable. It's wrong. So wrong.
Haven't you heard of something called consequences?
I have. So what are the consequences for this?
The
So far, what
consequences of her allowing that to become her husband. That's the consequence.
okay. But she's handling it in good faith. But the children
What?
never see
Okay,
it.
let's measure this. How did she go into it in good faith? What evidence was provided that she should have, you know what, okay, I see this, so let me put my faith in this. What was the evidence that this was a qualified man? Huh?
She's not complaining while doing any of the stressful work. She's just taking it to kind of thinker.
So if she's not complaining, then she's enjoying it, right?
Obviously, if you're not enjoying it, why won't you speak out? No one is holding your mouth.
Yeah, so she made her own bed.
Yes, but you made your own bed, but your children don't know that. You're looking up and they're seeing how things go. They'll be like, okay, this is the norm. You should be like this.
All she gotta say is this is not how things are supposed to be. All they gotta look outside of, to their friends and family. I'm sure they go home and say, or go to their friends' house like, "Oh, your daddy worked and your mommy stay home. That's weird. Mine's do the opposite." The friends would tell them right then and there. Well, then your mom is a goddamn fool.
Okay, growing up with something, you can't just leave it like that. If it's sick,
All
you
right,
should really change it.
but evidently they got 4 kids, so they've been together for a long time. It's one thing if the man was working, lost his job, or you know, situations happen where finances could flip. I see it all the time. Where
I
yeah, that happens all the
But
time.
it was like if you were working at the immigration job,
Is he
you
working at
would be
all?
struggling. I think it is for the tax reasons. I don't know.
So he is working.
But I don't know. It's okay if I'm to compare with what she's doing, he's not working for me. That is very stressful. Because of
How old is
I
she? How old is this lady?
I don't know.
You're
But
telling me about her.
I don't know how old she is.
Estimate,
But
Jenny.
she could be 30 something, 30 something,
30 something. 30 something, 4 kids. So they've been together for a while. So tell her she got about 30 more years of this.
True, but then I don't know. The stress makes her look
Well, She could stand up and tell, "Hey, hubby, when you come home, we need to discuss something." Hubby walks in the door. "Hey, honey, I'm home from a mediocre paying job that I only work like 2 hours a day and only made 2,000 naira. What you want to talk to me about, wifey?" "Well, hubby, I think we need to really discuss matters. I feel that you being a man, that you need to get a better paying job. Even if you have to go back to school, do whatever it is, you need to get a better paying job in order that you can provide better so that I don't have to work as hard because the stress on my back, on my mind, on my soul is just too much."
You know, African women are very sensitive. They can cover up for the husband anywhere.
Well,
So,
tell her to go get a sister to be a spokesperson. Or tell a father to be a spokesperson.
okay, this is actually out of the topic, but just read about an example. But this obviously shows that, okay, like the other topic we talked about, uh, you don't treat your relationship like a business. Just definitely it's not like a business because it's just one sided, I feel. But I give this example because people looking at them, looking at it, or girls looking at it, feel very discouraged if you're not exposed to know that that's wrong, that's not high supposed to be. Think that's the norm, and you will feel if you can provide for your family all by yourself,
What do
then you should just be by yourself.
what do y'all learn in church, man? Honestly,
Church.
what do y'all learn there?
Generally, or some churches, because this is the most churches preach what you want to hear. You always hear about prosperity,
Which is bullshit, but go ahead.
and stuff. But okay. Mm, of,
How about this? "Hey, congregation, this is the way it's supposed to be. Man's supposed to be provide. Woman's supposed to follow his lead. Man is supposed to lead, protect, and the woman's supposed to be under his protection." It's very simple. It's not like rocket science. Like, it don't take much to figure this out. Even if you grow up without parents, there's something innate in us as human beings that allow us to know the proper positions that we play in life. That's nature. If we just let nature itself run its course, you grow up to be a young woman, someone grows up to be a young man. That's just how it is. Young man, young woman. Hey, let's get together, make some babies, let's get married. Okay, you go to work, I'm going to stay home, take care of the kids. That's just nature taking its course. You don't even have to be taught this. That's just human nature.
people try to recognize nature and they take the consequences. So, but you do try to alter nature because this is wrong. Anyways, in churches, they don't preach things like this. But people have selective hearing. They just
Yeah, well,
like
church don't teach you anything that's really usable in this world.
as some churches do teach, but the people, the congregation has selective hearing. You just like what you want to hear, and then whichever one favors the person. If it doesn't favor you, you leave it.
Let me ask you
People
something
tell
about.
people,
I want to get your opinion before you go. I want you to tell me about what we talked about earlier today when I said that what's happening now is not just all about the feminism movement, but it's actually God's judgment on His own people. Because according to His judgment, He said the way that He's going to judge Israel and let them be destroyed, He said that the youth will take over. He said the woman will become the rulers. He said the woman will become independent of men. Everything focused on the man, from the youth to the woman. Everything was focal on the men. As long as the men are put last, He knew the nation would be destroyed and fall. Because no nation, no community can uphold itself without the men being placed first. So now in the black community, the men are placed last. They're placed after the women and the children. Black men come in third. and the black community is destroyed. You have many communities in West Africa that are following in them same patterns. That's why you don't see family structure the way that it used to be. But what I'm asking, according to the Bible, according to the own words of the Bible, he said when these things happen, when these type of things take place, that's because he's bringing his judgment on his people.
Yeah, true.
So guess what that means? That means those who follow in the footsteps of I'm going to be Miss Feminism, Miss Modern Day Woman, guess what they're saying? I'm a strong, independent woman. Guess what they're saying? Take a guess what they're saying.
I think
Can you guess?
um, um, I'm fulfilling the word of God.
They're saying not only do I reject the idea that I have to be dependent on men, I reject the idea that I have to depend on God. Because you have to remember, man is God's creation. That's his that's his ultimate creation. Man. Over everything God created in the heavens and earth, man is that one creation that was made in his image. Only man.
We're going to further this image.
No, women were not made in the image of God. So don't even bring that nonsense here. Don't even bring that nonsense here. No, women were not. You know what? I'm not even gonna say that because you might take it the wrong way. They were. In a ability, woman was woman was made as what? A helpmate to man. So if everything that God did went through man, that's why God never talked to a woman a day in his life. God never had a direct conversation with any females.
We were made from men.
Exactly. Made from man, meaning you're a part of man. You're an extension of man. So if something is an extension of me, how can that thing that's an extension of me overtake me and become more powerful than me? That's corruption.
When?
That's like cancer. Huh?
Yeah, it's true. But when the essential use the main body is not doing its work, the tend to be
Okay. Well, in order for when God sent his wrath down on Israel, when he did these things that he's doing again today, in order for that to happen, the men had to be made weak. Because weak men could allow this to happen. Strong men couldn't allow this to happen. Guess how it happened in our times? Single mothers. Because knowing that in order to have weak men, you have to take away the men. The men can't be the ones raising. So in order to raise a nation of weak men, you had to have just the women raising them. That's exactly what happened.
oh, so not
Excuse me, 88% of children in America are born out of wedlock. Almost all of them are raised by single mothers. So that's almost 90% of a population.
okay.
That's almost the entire population.
Okay, here, for an instance, some percentage of single moms do try to, that's a bit, I don't know, they kind of a bit full with character, but they try to transfer knowledge children, and most of their sons tend to be a provider. Not all, but most of them, because they know what their mothers suffer. So,
All right. Well, give it some time. Because what you're gonna have a lot of these younger ones going out there making babies without getting married, wanting to be IG models. Then when they find out that being an IG model just don't work, and it's not the reality of life, and it's all for show. And then when you're 30, 40, nobody wants to see your nasty body because you're overweight by that time. Guess what happens? You're mad, you're angry, and you take it out on your children. And your children can't learn anything because all they know is a mad, angry black women. So they look at that and say, damn, I don't want to mess with this. So let me go get me a white woman. Let me go get me an Asian woman. I tell this story all day, every day. I can't even remember the name of the school, but working with the Philadelphia School District. I think this was about when we came back in 2020 or 21. Never forget it. Working with these kids, young black teenagers, not teenagers, boys, all around the age of 10, 11, 12, whatever. Conversation happened one day. I overheard what they were saying because I was, working with them. They were saying, looking at pictures or talking about girls. They said, "Oh, I'm not gonna. No, I don't like her because she's dark, she's black." And I had to stop. So, what the hell's going on over here? Asked them. Conversation. Long story short, this young boy, around the age of 12 years old, understood that he wanted nothing to do with black women when he got old enough to marry one. And the reason why, because even though he loved his mother, he's seen how reckless and how uncivilized his mother is. And he associates his mother being a black woman. He internally associated that with all black women. And it's not far off from happening to you. Y'all go ahead and keep making babies out of wedlock. Y'all see what happened. Y'all going down the same path. It's not going to take long. It'll take no longer than 3, 4 decades for it to really show. You think things are bad now. Look at what's happening with the economy. Look what's happening even with two-parent homes, two incomes. Even when you got a home with two incomes, people are struggling today. So I'm dealing with a forgery check. Somebody cashed a check in our account for damn near 10 grand. I'm dealing with that. But luckily, we're still able, we all can still overcome that. But not everybody else can. You get what I'm saying? So even with two, two, two-parent homes, two incomes, whether it's America or West Africa, people are still struggling. Now, fast forward 2, 3 decades, when things don't get better, they normally get progressively worse. They get worse, then you get a breathing point. What they say is like the calm before the storm. That's what COVID and all this stuff, inflation, the calm before the storm. After this, like by next year, all things going to seem like they're going to even kill now. 10 years on the line, the next big thing is going to happen. It's going to be 100 times worse than it is today. Then you're going to have all these single mothers running around in Africa with no men. Barely can provide for themselves when things are okay. Then when things really go bad, now you got a lot of people starving. Now you got a lot of people killing. Then you're going to see a lot of drugs and guns coming into the country that has never been Africa.
They're already happening though.
And it's going to happen on a more prominent level. And I know about them bringing boats over to the borders, to the ports in Nigeria, and now they're trying to issue in drugs and guns to ruin Nigeria even more. I know all about it. And that's why I get mad when people blame what's happening a lot of times on, our African brothers and sisters on their own. The same thing that's been done to Black America is now being done to West Africa. So we can't say one thing against y'all. Y'all can't say one thing against us. The proper way to do this is for us to say, hey, we've been through it. We know exactly what they're doing. And we know exactly what it's going to lead to. In order to nip this in the butt, we're going to have to get together and we're going to have to do things together. We're going to have to do things as one people. That's why I said this might strike a lot of people, and I don't know why it would because I've been saying it for the longest, but I probably don't say it this way. Good traditional African women are best fit for Black American men. I'm gonna tell you why. The, not talking about all. There's a portion of Black men, just like it is in Africa. But I'm not saying they're only fit for Black men. I'm saying they're also a good fit for Black American men, just so I could straighten that out.
Okay.
You still have a lot of women in West Africa who are raised to be traditional wives, still in their 20s, between the age of 18 and 30, whatever you want to say, at a marrying age. I say anything under 30 is still at a marrying age. You have a lot of brothers in America still left. Regardless of what you see, it might be the majority that are not worth anything, but there's still a population of people that are good, hardworking brothers that are still single, and a lot of them are going without having children with anybody. You got a lot of men who walking around who never had a child. and a lot who are going to leave this earth without children. And the reason why is because they do not trust their women. I remember, I think it was last week or last Friday that I was at the post office on one of the shows. I told you a story about what happened when I went to the post office with the young brother. He's never been married, has no children. I forget his age. I believe he's in his 30s. And he said that it's likely to be that way, remain that way, because he doesn't want to take a chance with the women of today. That is saddening. And he's not the only one. That's why I said that the brothers here who just gave up on women altogether and said, I'm just going to work, do what I got to do, and maybe, you know, somehow, some way, I'll find something. But right now they're to the point that they don't want to deal with anybody because all they know is the women that are placed around them. And the modern day women that are in America, they're not qualified to be wives. They're not even qualified to be concubines. You can't even qualify as that. You qualify for nothing at all. So what I'm saying is that the brothers are more fit, the hardworking providers, protectors, learn how to be leaders, good, decent men who are just taking their time, not dealing with anybody because they don't want to put themselves in the wrong situation. Then you have the African sisters who are saying that the men of today are not growing up to be like our fathers or our forefathers. They're not being providers, and most of them are abusers physically. We don't want that. So what's the next best thing? Hey, you have what I want. Hey, and you also have what I want. So what happens? Hey, let's get together and make a loving family. It's that simple. I mean, we all did it, so it is what it is. Let's all be the example. So you get it?
Yeah, I do.
So anyway, I think this has been good convo, man. And the thing is, I think people, a lot of the young girls, they're going to need a place to come to for advice because whatever's going on, they're not getting the advice that they need to make the good decisions.
Influence.
Yeah, they're being wrongly influenced. And like Assumpta, I can't believe I remember her name all the times now. Assumpta said that the influence is so strong, and then when you see take one anecdotal situation, and they take that as a story, and that story get wrapped around the minds of the young girls, then they become more involved in this feminist movement. And she said these girls don't even know how to spell feminism. They don't even know what it is. But the whole idea is to get them moving in that direction. Because the same thing that happened to Black America, now they're saying, okay, we destroyed Black America. Now it's time to destroy Africa.
But anyway, yeah, you know what that is. Some of the men are first there, but it's not good.
Yeah, I told you. I said we need programs over there in West Africa that we need to build up some mentorship programs. It's needed. The baby boomer generation, the same generation as those in West Africa, they all fell. They fell. You, me, and everybody else after them. We know that. Nothing we can do about that. Nothing we can do about it. It's done. It's over with. We're bearing the brunt of their mistakes. So what do? Sit here and complain or get on a ball, get on a job. And one thing is, like I just said, to get programs started that men can start getting mentorship. They need it.
Yeah, exactly. And even mental, whatever.
Mental health, all that. And you gave me an idea. Hey, why don't, why,
Normal.
huh?
I said some are not normal. So
Somewhat.
some men are not normal.
They're not normal.
Yeah, they're not normal. Okay, I thought this with you. All right.
Brothers, I'm not the one saying it, so forgive her. Forgive her.
True.
So forgive her for she not know what she do.
I thought this with you. Guy.
Huh?
Okay, I saw this video of the guy. He invited his girlfriend the house with his friends and they tied her and flogged her. They videoed it and they uploaded it. They took over food and they flogged her. Why? Because she cheated on him. She's your girlfriend. She's not your wife. Are you okay? Why would you do that? And you uploaded it. I was okay. I was satisfied with the video because I think the girl's brother was a naval officer or something, and they came back for the boy. So just imagine those that don't have anybody to speak for them, or you don't even have a brother to, you're the only child or something. You would have just accepted your flooding and got free. Why would you even do that?
As bad as that is, I guarantee you something. I guarantee you, I could send you a video every day of the week for years and years and years. I could do it today. I could send you at least 20 videos right off the bat that I could just pull up of this right here. Woman cheats on man or breaks up with man. Man goes over to her, shoots her dead. It happens every day over here, all day. That's commonplace here. If you turn on any of the YouTube news channels, go to Houston, Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, California. Just subscribe to one of those channels. I'm gonna give you a couple later on to subscribe to, and you're gonna get all these updates. And half of them stories, man kills woman. We just had the other week that a man killed not only his wife or the woman, the girlfriend, but he killed her daughter.
Why?
Because she wanted to break up with him. It happens all the time. I watch a whole lot of shows. Like I like Fatal Attraction. It's just I'll show it to you when I come there. TV1 show. It's about men killing their girlfriends because they get mad of a breakup or cheating or whatever. The whole show comes on every week, and it's all real. It's all real stories that's in the police books and everything. But they what's the word I'm looking for? They reenact it. It's a pretty good show though, and there's a dozen different types of like that, but they're all over our TV these days. It's common to wake up to a story of a boyfriend killing his girlfriend.
It's not common here.
It's very common here because it happens every day.
It's crazy. It's wrong because people are not different. Like, are you okay?
That's what I'm saying. You're saying flogging, which is bad. These people are putting bullets in the heads of their women. Some of these women are getting stabbed 70, 80, 90 times to death. Most of them get strangled. This is common every day. We're not talking about one here, one there. We're talking about this happens several times a day. That's a common thing.
So is it that you're supposed to check the mental health of the
People don't check anything. People say, oh, he looked good. Oh, she looked good. Let's hop in bed together. That's all they care about it. They deal with the consequences later. That's how it is. All right. But yeah, what you're saying is bad. What happens over here, I'm going to sing some stories too. Just so you can try to get acquainted to how things go over here. You're living here is a country with everybody with a damn gun. You got nutcases running around with guns. You got people with mental health problems running around with guns. Then you got these people getting out of prison, getting into relationships with other women. And I don't know if this happens there a lot, because I got one of the brothers in prison in Ghana. When the brothers in here are in prison, you get a lot of ladies who seek out these type of men. And they send money to them, so when they get out of prison, that they want to coerce that man to come live with them and be with them. Because they can't get a man any other type of way. And what happens, these men come out, they use them, and then they go get another girlfriend. But everything is so insane here. You'll see. You will see. Just like I told Susie, when she got here, she didn't believe me a half the stories that I'm saying now. And now, that's all she knows. That's all she knows. It's crazy, man. But, yeah. Hold on. Let me see something. thought someone told me something. All right. Anyway, all right. I said to 10 o'clock. It's 10 minutes to 10, so I did good. I did very, very good. But no, it's been good conversation. I thought she was going to join us after you. I'm not sure. I'll find out in a second. All right. Think we're gonna call it a night though. But it's been good talk, man. I just want everybody to think about what was said, and what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get people to look at things a little deeper. Like, as well as that, we fight a physical war, but at the same time, we fight a spiritual war. And the spiritual war is much more dangerous than the physical one that you can see. Because it's more dangerous to fight something you can't see than something you can see. It's like trying to fight in the dark, blindfolded. That's what's happening now. And it's not about us trying to find a way to turn this around. What we got to do, we just got to find how to walk properly through it and link up with those who are like-minded so that we can move as a small nation ourselves. You get what I'm saying? And that's going to take Black Americans and Africans to work together. Any other way is not going to work. Can't work any other way. It hasn't worked any other way, and it won't work any other way. So you could get people on Twitter Spaces talking all day, Africans against blacks and blacks against Africans. You can have that all day. Nobody's winning anything doing it. Nobody. You see where we are. We ain't won nothing. So the only thing to do is say, hey, we keep doing it this way, and it ain't working. So maybe it's time to do it the other way. All right. All right. Get some sleep. All right. Good night. All right. Thought the other wife was going to join me, but I don't know. She's mad at me. She's mad at me. What happens? All right. So, guys, hope this was another learning experience. Get on the other side of my way. Hope this was something that you learned today. It's not just about learning all in one day. It's about planting the seed. Sometimes you have to plant the seed. I'm the planter. God is the one who makes it grow. And that's what I want to do. I want to continue to plant the seeds in the minds of individuals that can become useful in this world. Because not everybody will be, but we still have good people who have bright futures ahead of them. Some of you guys don't even know. A lot of you guys think that life is so dim when it's not really as bad as you think. I was listening to a song by this artist called Bizzle. First time I heard it the other day. And one of the lyrics went that he thought he'd seen the bottom, meaning I hit rock bottom. He said that I thought I seen the bottom until I met somebody from beneath the bottom. Until I met somebody from beneath the bottom. So no matter how bad it is for you today, there's a lot of people who would love to be in your place. You're still breathing, especially if you still have your health, have your mind together. You can go from nothing to something overnight, just like that. Remember that. 'Cause I've lived life where I gained a lot and I lost a lot. Twice in my life, I came to absolutely nothing. Zero. Had nothing to my name. All it took was me to continue to believe in myself. So you know what? I'm going to learn from my mistakes, as many of my mistakes as I can. And what happened bad this way, let me do it that way. So as bad as things are today, all it takes is that one or two good decisions to completely turn life around. So never give up on life, man. Never give up on life. All it takes is that one decision that could change life for forever. That's why you never give up as long as you got breath in your lungs. But what we learned today, read about it, think about it, and if you contemplating it, you come back with some thoughts. I'd love to hear it. Send me a message or on the next show. Bring it up if you need to. But that is tonight's show. And again, we discuss this is how God is judging the Black community. through modern day women. So I hope it was a good show for you guys as it was for me. Um, Continue to share this with a friend, family member, a coworker, or a fellow student. Heck, you guys have children, share it with them as long as they're 18 or older. 18 or older. But with that said, make sure you follow on YouTube. Look for us at Marion Africa on YouTube. The subscribe button so we can get the numbers up over there. I'm back on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. It's Marion Africa One. So look up Marion Africa One on Twitter. Now on Facebook, should be the same. So with that said, thank you guys for coming on here. We had another nice Friday night with plenty of you guys in here watching. So I appreciate it. And don't be too shy to come on this show. Like I said, whether you agree or disagree, it's all the same. You're going to get respect from me. So don't hesitate. All right, guys, I got to go. It's been a nice night. I'm going to have my Friday night thing going for myself. And I'll check you guys out on the next episode. So whenever that may be, hopefully Monday, Wednesday, maybe, but definitely Fridays. So by the grace of God, I'm here every Friday night and sometimes Mondays and Wednesdays. All right, guys. Peace out. Love you all. Good night.